We know that the customer wants to get an answer and a prepared offer like in 15-30 minutes. Time criticality we are talking about, it's very fast, like decisions are made on spot.
In terms of performance, it was our best years ever. We had roughly a 70% growth in number of shipments comparing with the past. So it was a huge step forward. And the reality is that, we want to be the trusted partners. Reliability, it's a nice word, but what is behind it's trust.
If there's a difficult situation and there's no options, like regular options that no one could find, there's us who can find the solution.
We had an LG engine from Lithuania to Israel, and it was a moment of geopolitical tensions. To manage that, we had to find alternative ways. Supplier had a freight forward, and many were struggling that. Due to our experience, we found alternative way. We moved by road, and then we found another flight to get in and deliver the engine where it was supposed to be.
Raimondo, Masvidus, thank you so much for taking time to join us here today. Well, actually, again, I can't say thank you. I spoke to the base maintenance guys just recently. I can't say thank you because I'm joining you in your facility, right? We're in your logistics center right now. Quite a massive place. Obviously, it's a bit quieter today as we're filming, but again, we still have things happening. Now, our first question, as for everyone, is how did you guys get into aviation? I know you've got varied histories, very different, but I think aviation, what it does is that it does this thing of bringing people together, right, from different walks of life and getting them to work together in various different experiences. So how did you guys get into aviation? Raimondo, let's go with you first.
Thank you for having us today with you. How I started in aviation? Well, my story started roughly 3 years ago. I was working at that time in one of the biggest road carrier, so truckers in Europe. And suddenly I got the opportunity to speak with some headhunters hunting for commercial experience to develop logistics services in the aviation industry. And that's where my story starts with Technics. So 3 years ago roughly I entered this dynamic world, and so far so good, I would say.
Mm-hmm. That's good to hear.
Yeah, that is, every day is a new learning opportunity. As I said, it's a very dynamic and different world from what I've been before. So I'm trying to adjust my knowledges to the current situation we are facing daily in the aviation industry, and we're moving forward.
Masvidus?
Yeah, for me it's a bit different than my colleague here. What relates with aviation, I started from very beginning. Like when I finished school, I chose my subject, what I want to study in university. So from the start, I knew that I will go into logistics, and I never wanted to go to the basic logistics such as road, as it's mostly here in Lithuania. I just was searching for something else.
You wanted a challenge.
Yeah, I wanted a challenge. I really like the aircrafts, traveling and so on. So I found out that there's this group, companies, Aviation group, and I tried to go into this company and started not from logistics at all. Started from data mining, so which is totally different thing.
Completely separate
Yes,
industry.
but it was only a practice, and it's good practice to have a knowledge about different companies, how the CRM systems works, and I got some first steps into that. And after that, after my practice, the ladies, colleagues there from HR just offered me that there's such a company as Technics, which would suit me the best according to my field, logistics, which I was studying at bachelor degree and master degree then. So I decided to join and to attend the role was storekeeper. I did not want to go from the manager and to see the things from the managing side. I wanted to see the things from the below, like
Right from the beginning.
yeah, right from the beginning, from where everything starts, packaging, parts, issuing, orders. So all the life that is going on here. So I wanted to go through all of that and step by step go to where I am right now. So
You know, which is quite a testament to your story, actually, because again, you started out, you knew from the beginning you wanted to be in logistics, right? You started out unconventional position, data mining, and then now you've said, you know, as a storekeeper, and you kind of went through the different levels. And of course, now you are, you know, head of logistics, again, a role that you recently took on. Talk about that journey, but more of what you're doing today and how maybe your journey led up to your kind of understanding of the full logistics business today. Raymond, I want to come to you as well. You've also got a lengthy history, and I'll come back to you.
I'm here.
yes, so this like FL Techniques as a business, as a sphere for logistics, it's very good training for the persons that want to grow and want to know in and out logistics as well. Because in here I acknowledge like storing operations. Then I acknowledge customs operations, which are everyday part of our work. Like we deal it with every day. It's international business, whether it's shipments coming from third parties, as most of the suppliers are being abroad, not in the European Union. So we deal with that every day. Then after the customs position, it was more of a financial logistics position to work with the invoices, to work with the customers, to like meet them, to inquiry their needs, and to do best for them with their parts, like to ship them, to store them, to scrap them, like as we do here in our warehouses. And after that, after like making really good job, like, you know, when you do great job and you feel that you will be like noticed in all this fair, so it happens. Like you only just need to dream, you need to see the perspective where you can be in some time of the years, to have a plan like where you want to go. And then it suddenly happens, and I was offered the role again of head of logistics, and just recently the head of logistics and storage department, which is the highest level we have here.
I want to ask Raimondo, did you have the same dreams, you know, Raimondo? Because
To be honest with you, no.
no, but you know, actually leaning into your story, very similar to how Masvidas has described his history, where you've worked with a various number of organizations within this industry, right? Which in one way could say, or could position you to have a full scope understanding of the business, how to operate in the business, how to work with different clients. How is that your history and experience kind of prepared you for what you do today?
Great question, though. So I will say that yes, I did work for probably the hugest carrier in Europe in terms of assets, so truck and trailers. In the, as Majda said, the most simple logistics, which is the transportation sector, so road transport basically. So I did work in a huge organization, having the possibility to learn as much as I did from the beginning to the highest level. For example, in my role was business development. So I was a dispatcher, so handling operation too. So my career started there, but it wasn't the dream, the aviation. Actually, in my youth, I was traveling not so much. My first trip abroad, because I'm Italian, so my first trip abroad was in Spain. Yeah, so I took my first flight when I was probably 13 within Italy, domestic flight. But yeah, nevertheless, it was not my dream to be in there. Actually, I didn't know what I wanted till I was, I don't know, 24, 25 probably. So my background is engineering, civil environmental engineering. So I decided to look out in the market for that role, which didn't fit me at all. Since university time, I knew that I like it, but there is a lack of human connection. There is a lack of you're not first on the stage, you're not first facing people, and it wasn't enough for me. So that's how started the logistic world, moving to Lithuania actually. So I entered the logistic world almost 10 years ago. So that definitely shaped my experience from the bottom to the top, where I arrived today. And aviation became quite important piece of my background right now, and my piece of knowledges. And it's still developing. It's just 3 years in the industry. It's a constant learning, constant approaching new regulations. You needs always to be up to date to the new regulation. You need to know a lot. So thanks to my colleagues, Mažvydas and the others, I'm trying to grab piece of knowledge from everybody within the business line. That's what makes the difference. What I'm giving to the logistic at Technics is probably more international perspective, more knowledge on how to deal with commercial strategies and marketing strategies, because I have done it before and for the previous experience, and this human factor that made the difference for me.
Looking, at what you've both mentioned about aviation and how it's played a role in both your backgrounds, your histories, and in what you do today. Obviously, when you look at the industry, the aviation industry today, again, it's a massive industry. It's an international industry, kind of stemming off what you said. And it has a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different spectrums, a lot of different businesses all working together. And more often than not, you find that all those moving parts, logistics plays such a key role in moving those parts into the right places at the right time, in the right way as well, which leans very nicely into our topic for today, obviously, which is logistics, and how logistics plays its role in keeping the industry running. In particular, what we want to discuss, but rather what I also want to just know personally, is what's the difference between the standard freight forwarder as well as aviation and aerospace logistics, right? Because when you think about freight forwarders, you think about some of the main players, but there is an industry where there's aerospace logistics and there's a need for aerospace logistics. How would you describe the main difference today? Raimondo?
Well, the first thing that comes up to my mind right now is compliance and international regulations. So aviation industry is very, very strict on those terms. There are international rules that must be followed, and any company which works within the aviation must follow them. First, this is the main thing that comes up. Then we can add on that, for example, from another perspective, aviation industry is a very, very complicated world in terms of, each freight forwarder needs to know the aviation in and out, needs to know each parts, what they are, how they're being handled, and follow exactly strict operation procedures. So that's the main difference that I will recognize. When instead, general logistics or general freight forwarding, as you wish, involve more, let's say, relaxed process. There are compliance, of course, but not at the same level of aviation. So yeah,
I would say that relaxed process, Mažvydas, is something that you were trying to avoid, right? You didn't want to just do the simple logistics. You wanted to go into something more specialized. Talk about that. The differences that you see now in terms of, again, the specialized aerospace logistics and just, regular or general freight forwarding.
Yeah, so from operational standpoint, the logistics differs a lot, like in road, in aviation. The most important things is precision and the urgency. Different situations. AOG situations is the only 3 letters that airlines are afraid of. So
Yeah.
our mission is to guarantee that airlines can avoid these three letters to go on. So everything should be like planned accordingly, delivered on plan, like without without any mistakes. So as we are living in this world in MRO, as we are part of this big organization, we daily deal with base maintenance, line maintenance, design, engine, aircraft materials stuff, wheels and brakes project. We have a big operation going on in Europe, so we understand the importance of this and how it differs comparing with the regular freight. Because yes, the expert on regular freight is as well Raimondo. He knows, he comes from this sphere, and what he said, compliance, it's yes, it's very different. Like we currently see how the freight forwarders, carriers approaches us, and they do not understand the stuff. They want to go into our sphere, like to move freight for us, but just for some freight forwarders, the needs from our side can be too big for them to follow.
Maybe expand a little bit more on that in terms of, again, understanding those regulations, the regulations that you have to, or rather the environment that you have to navigate in terms of being, a specialized aerospace, logistics provider. Talk a little bit more of that. I'm going to come to Raimondo maybe to expand on that.
Well, definitely, Hadi, on top of what Majda said, the main goal here is for specialized aerospace freight forwarders. The main goal is to solve crises. Majda said very, very well that we handle this on daily base, and the difference that looking into the compliance, for example, in a general freight, you can start work with any freight forwarder carrier in a couple of days. Instead, aviation compliance is much more strict. There is a more deep control over, supplier, over customers. Nothing is left unnoticed. Everything is being checked. Everything is being supervised and controlled to avoid, of course, to jump out from international regulations, to always be on the right path on everything. So from this point of view, is definitely this is what we meant with more complicated compliance procedure. If you compare this in a general cargo, it's for them is what they just check. They do a financial check. They just check your credit limit in your bank. If it's fine, you have no debts, then let's get it work. You just need to adjust on commercial terms, but that is it's regular. Here is much more controlled environment due to regulations and as well due to the risk. Because be aware, the thing is that we are moving parts which are very, very crucial for aircraft to fly. And there is a terms which must be highlighted, which is safety. And this is really important. So because we work in MRO for over 20 years, we know how to handle that through experience, through history, and knowledge spread people after people. We still have colleagues in our department. We started at the beginning of Technics 20 years ago. So imagine the knowledge that those people have. They can pass it through other newcomers, colleagues, and it's a system that works. So knowledge cycle repeating over time.
Yeah, I want to expand more on that because you've both brought in quite a lot of significant words there. Again, precision, time critical, paying attention to time and just being very specialized. You've talked about compliance, again, moving aviation parts, aviation components, again, critical to to a lot of operators' operations, so to say. But why is that? Why that strict focus? And I guess what I'm trying to get to here is, what's the influence or rather the impact of your work on, let's say, an airline's operations, right? Whether they need a part or they need an engine or a certain item, to continue their operations. What's the real influence and impact there? Masrude, let's start with you with that one.
Yeah, so for us, it's not a package. Like, for any other freight forwarding company that they need just to transfer it from A to B. Like for us, it's the aircraft part. We understand what is being transported, from like small sensor for 30 euros to 5 million engine. Like we know them all, like we touch them, we see them, like we deal with them every day. We pack them, like we know how to transport them and how to like, what are the regulations with each of them, like especially with such goods as dangerous goods, what needs to be done before shipment of these kind of goods. We have a teams prepared and with in-house training on compliance stuff, as Raimondo mentioned, with IATA DGR regulations, with EASA regulations. So as we are aviation company, there's a lot of trainings going on, like to direct the people into this aviation side. So they are focused only on aviation. So that's why it's our strongest side, that we know, like comparing with regular freight forwarder, there's a day and night between the knowledge and what we can offer for the customer.
Raimondo?
Adding on this, airlines working with us, they feel it. What I mean is they can feel the difference in terms of how things are being processed. Handling operation in the aviation industry, logistic operation, I mean, is a different matter than handling any kind of operation in I don't know, automotive parts or I don't know, pharma goods. Also in there are regulation, of course, which but there's nothing related to our work. What we do here, as I said, it's we know what is at stakes for airlines. And for us, the most important thing is the urgency and the reactiveness we have to reply to customers and to act fast. So here's the thing: it's all actually in aviation. It's all critical. It's all urgent. It's all okay. These three letters AOG, which is the biggest nightmare for airlines. Any case like this for them, it's costly first. You can imagine an aircraft grounded. Any hour can cost you from, I don't know, thousands of dollars to even $100,000 just for a simple parts. And for us, it's crucial and it's important that we know how to operate this environment. We do it daily, and we have a strong network of partners who help us delivering the parts when it's needed as fast as possible, even in an incredible situation, geopolitical situation, or economical situation. In the struggle, we find a way to get through and deliver the parts where it is needed.
I want to come to something that you mentioned there again, AOG, which is aircraft on ground.
Yeah.
Now, quite interesting. If from a passenger perspective, right? If they get a notification on, about their flight to say, oh, your flight has been delayed, or, oh, sorry, we can't take off, they're just going to be rerouted to another flight in a couple of hours or the next day. And they don't really see, what goes on behind the scenes. Whereas the airline, when their aircraft is on the ground, that's a complete shift of their schedule, of their operations. There are different impacts, whether it's revenue-wise or reputation-wise or operations. From a logistics standpoint, right? Give me paint the picture of what an AOG is, right? In terms of what happens, what's the impact, and then where do you come in terms of trying to rectify an AOG situation? Majvides, you want to start with that one?
It's like you need to go with proactive approach all the time when it's AOG situation. You need to think in the future. What will be the things, how you will pick up the part, what is needed, how you can organize the fast possible way to pick up the part, what are the nearest flights. Maybe if there's no nearest flights in this country, in this city, you need to search around the countries and other countries to organize like dedicated vans, onboard couriers, charter flights, even if it's like bigger size, oversized materials. So everything like goes into many specific details, that we are currently like dealing with every day in our job, because like the same in our hangars, there's OG situations, not every day, I can tell, but it happens a lot. So we already know like what is this, what these three letters mean, like from inside out.
Maybe I might just even add to that where, you know, for an AOG situation, it's very different again, let's say from an individual or the public's perception. You order something on a, you know, on a platform and it gets delivered to you in, let's say in 3-4 days, right? Whereas an AOG, you know, once the aircraft is on the ground, again, it's a critical time, right? There's a direct impact, and the part or whatever component it is needs to be delivered like within you know, as soon as possible. Let's say. Talk more about that in terms of that impact.
As I mentioned before, it's crisis management. The fact is that, I mean, the damage is there already, so we are there to mitigate the you know, consequential and, you know, additional damage. And logistics is crucial in that case, because the fastest way, the strongest is the network, will help you to deliver the parts as fast as you can. Of course, airlines wanted the parts yesterday. So if the AOG comes today, yesterday they needed the parts. So that's how it works. So we work always under pressure, and you need to handle this pressure and connect what are the dots. That's why you need very broad experience, as Majida said. And I remember one of our recent cases in the latest month, we had an AOG engine from Lithuania to Israel, and it was a moment of geopolitical tensions. We couldn't find a flight to manage that. We had to find alternative ways, and, you know, other supplier, other freight forward, maybe were struggling that. Due to our, you know, experience, we found alternative way. We moved by road, and then we found another flight to get in and deliver the engine where it was supposed to be. This, unfortunately, you know, it's the, you know, biggest scenario of an engine AOG scenario, but the work that is behind is huge. The work of coordinating not only the loading procedure, following manufacturing cargo handling procedure, for example, for engine scenarios, but what is all the coordinating all these people involved in the process. This reflect the, you know, the huge commitment we have in the industry. It's, for us, is a mission, actually.
And you know, how does that experience, and it's very fascinating, how does that experience prepare you to deal with, you know, situations such as, again, the AOG situations, or again, you're navigating the different regulations, maybe across different regions, geopolitical tensions, you know, something, Mazrus, that you said, which is you almost have to plan in advance for these type of situations, so that when it does happen, you're not starting to plan then, you're more just connecting the dots, again, coming to what Raimondo just said. So how does your experience position you or support your approach to, again, focusing on being time critical, focusing on precision, again, safety, something that you brought up as well? How does that help? And Majvidis, I want to, you know, pass this one to you.
Yeah, it's like aviation it's global, and what can work in one country, it can not work in another country. Like from customs perspective, I mean, and all the rules and documents, sets of documents, you need to release the cargo on time. So this is like the advantage for us, as we operate and we know mostly all of the suppliers in aviation industry, all of the engine shops, all the pickup points, and the countries. Like last year we operated in 90 countries worldwide. So in each of that country we have our customs agents, our free forwarders that are ready to help, to support anytime with our inquiries. And we know the best solutions that could work for different situations. So we need to prepare, and we need to prepare according to this country rules. So in Lithuania, yeah, it's very difficult with the customs currently regarding all of the regulations on the ongoing conflict. But like in other countries, maybe it's more easier. But still, the it's the part all of those aviation goods that are traveling. It's very similar. Like you need to know the most usual rules for the document sets to get it moving fast.
Now, this segues very nicely into, again, how looking at the logistics industry in general, right? It's, again, lending to what you said, it's a global industry, right? It's something that's happening across multiple regions, across multiple continents. And there's a bit of synergy that I would say, a provider, logistics provider, specialized logistics provider would need to have, again, across the different regions, right, in terms of understanding what are the regulations, what are the customs, again, your strategic location, strategic positioning, having global partners. What's your approach to navigating all these different aspects, right, when you're operating, again, from country to country, region to region, continent to continent? What's your approach to that? And I want to still stay on Masvidus as you brought that up.
Yeah, so our approach is like it's very difficult process actually to find the correct partners, the partners that think logically, that understands the same situations as us. Because yes, like mostly in Europe you can find like the companies that could support you, that understands the same stuff and that working with aviation as well. But like with the other in the Africa, in United Arab Emirates or like in Asia, in some of the countries, it's more difficult to find a mutual understanding between each other and for them to understand what is the aircraft part, like the simple thing. So there's a lot of work being done to find and to work with only quality certified freight forwarders, agents that know their stuff, that could support on AOG situations, could respond fast, and could like get us out of the difficult situations.
And Ramono, what's your view on that?
I totally agree with Majidas. The thing I will add in it, additional part is related to, we are facilitating in this process. Look at this way. When I arrived here, the first weeks, you have the feelings that you are touching a different kind of material and environment. It's not anymore the regional problem, European problem. It's a more broad and wide problem. So the importance of selecting the right partners will make, at the end of the day, will make the difference for your operation and the operation you are providing for your customers, which are the end user for us. My perspective in that, and I will add on is that more you are strong, more large is your network. Of course, must be operating and operating according compliance, following and understanding what is at the stakes. Of course, there is a huge work behind on our side to ensure that the partner we select are the right ones. If we want to switch to the perspective on, let's say, customer side, I think is that having a partner like us, which thanks to the MRO operations, FL Technics, thanks to Aviation Solution Group series, because we work also with them, as this large network. And when I mean large, it means the Aviation Solution Group has many companies within the group. FL Technics as well in the group has many companies. So we operate, as much as I say, in 90 countries worldwide, and sense of consistency. So we are consistent on the daily job we do. Of course, we cannot be always in competitive on many countries, for example, price wise, but that's normal. That's how the business works. That's how logistics works, and we try to offer always the most cost effective option. to deliver the parts needed. That's the main thing. For us, it's a mission. There is a difference from the general logistics, that everybody just check the price, and if you are the most cheapest guy or the core you, they would take you. Here, it's totally different business. I don't know. Here, for example, airlines or I don't know, lessors or even parts traders, other freight forwarders in the aerospace industry, they don't check just the price as we do. So it's a mutual screening of capabilities, compliance, network, and knowledge of the aviation industry. That's what makes the difference.
Something that you brought up quite a lot there. Again, partners and network, right? Now, I think you're both positioned in the right industry to describe this next term, which is the supply chain, right? We hear all about the supply chain, that there are disruptions in the supply chain, that, the supply chain is down here, or it's slowed down, supply and demand of the supply chain. But no one ever really describes that this is the supply chain, this is what it is, these are the people involved, this is the start point, and this is the end point, right? It's this, could I say imaginary, aspect that's always mentioned, but it's critical, it's important. It is. How would you describe what the supply chain is today and who's involved? I mean, what's the start point? What's the end point?
It's not an abstract scenario.
I hope
so
not.
The supply chain, to say it in a simple words, is the process that connects from the outsourcing of raw materials to the end point, which is the finished products or services. And in this process, there are many players in it. So first one, of course, is the raw materials. So who is providing the raw materials, no? Then we have the manufacturers. Manufacturer take the raw materials, transform it, create the product, in that case. Then you have distribution, logistics. So warehouse and distribution. These are other two. Then you have the retailers or resellers. So they take the products from logistic warehouse and they sell it to the market. And then you have the end final part, which is the customers. So imagine this chain, supply chain, if any of these players here has some issue, trouble due to, I don't know, external factor, geopolitical tension, conflicts, economical and financial tension, like is happening right now, for example, between US, China, and so on. This influence all the others. Between all of this, logistics is the first in the supply chain to feel the changes. Why? Because we transport goods. There is nothing worldwide which cannot be noticed by logistics as an industry. We are the first one who noticed the tension, conflict tension, and the consequences due to it.
Maybe just to jump in there, as you transport these goods, so are you again looking at the analogy you've given of the supply chain? Are you transporting these goods, let's say, from each player to each player involved in the supply chain? Is that where you're involved, or is it another space within the?
Well, we do work. We bring in from manufacturers. We bring in, of course, materials and parts needed for our MRO. We do work with airlines. We do work with lessors. We do work with parts traders. In the meantime, we cooperate and we work as well with other fellow freight forwarders. So this is the, let's say, core players which we are cooperating on daily business. And the end customer for us doesn't make any difference, because it's the end customer for us. It's the passenger or the airlines. So we are on the same side of airlines. We support their operation on that side. So for this, most important for airlines who plays in the industry is the end customers, customers to be satisfied. Any delays, any disruption on the way during flight schedules and so on can cost thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Masvidis, I want to bring you in there in terms of your perspective operationally on the supply chain, right? And where you see your business playing a role and an impact in it. What's your view?
I can mention the one thing that's also very important in the supply chain is landside, airside deliveries and what this means to us, to perspective of freight forwarder. So basically we are in this field of landside, airside delivery. So this means for us that we are delivering the part directly from supplier to the aircraft. So it's either what is the land side?
Yes.
The land side is the easily accessible, no restriction zone. So it's either can be manufacturer warehouses, some stores, some places to be easily accessible for the logistics company to pick up the goods. And what is the air side is the basically inside the airport territory where is the end use of the product. So we need to deliver to there. So there's also different approaches with the different clients, customers worldwide. What are their needs?
Would you say there's a particular form of regulations or training or certain procedural standards that you have to follow to operate, again, so you've got landside and then airside, so to operate on the airside aspect, again, getting the part from landside to airside directly to the client? Is there certain procedural procedures that you have to follow that are a bit more specialized in terms of, in comparison to operating landside?
Yes, there is procedures. There is procedures for entry to the airside, what is needed from the driver, from the truck, like in the whole logistics company, what needs to be prepared. And there's a really big time difference between the countries, different airports, regulations, how everyone set their rules to enter the airport. So basically, as we as well operate in the airport, we have our hangars here locally in Lithuania. Every day we enter airside territory. We know the stuff with the airside security officers, how it works, what is needed from documents wise, like ID, passport copies, truck documents, insurance documents, and so on. So basically, there are like suppliers, receivers, like in example, in Turkey, in Istanbul airport, there's like a longer process of 1-2 days to get an approval for that. So every time you need to go proactive to prepare all of this data, documents in advance to move in time and in plan to deliver the cargo. So this is the most important things for logistics company to understand and to plan ahead of time.
Raimondo, you were agreeing there. Anything you want to add?
Totally. No, I was nodding because yeah, I agree on that. That's what makes the difference. So people who knows what is at the stakes can understand that proactive approach is a must. So I was just agreeing on that because for us it seems normal now, but I can tell you from my personal experience that get used to this way of working. For me, it was at the beginning difficult. So imagine any other freight forwarder moving any kind of parts which is not related to aviation or aircraft parts. They take it in a simple way, simplistic way, so that they do not yet understand that. So when they face the hard truth, then there's the problem when there are troubles and challenges for general freight forwarders.
I want to come to a topic that you've brought up, consistently during this, during our conversation discussion today. One, the global aspects of logistics, right, and how having a global understanding of how the business works, navigating customs regulations in different regions, different countries, understanding that, okay, in one country, a process may take, significantly longer. So how do you plan ahead, right? So having that understanding. One topic which is quite prevalent today is geopolitical tensions, influences around the world, and how, again, that maybe to use your words there, Raimondo, that has close to a direct impact in logistics operations. How are you navigating, some of the different geopolitical influences we're seeing in the world today? What's your view on that, Raimondo?
Well, it has been difficult for sure. We cannot say it's easy. you need to be quite resilient in your approach, no matter the challenges you're facing. You need to be always to stand your way and find solution to help your customers. Our approach is that no matter the challenge, we are gonna focus. We are gonna find a way to reach the country, to reach the place where we need to deliver. Of course, there are situations that real conflict here. Of course, they are not. I mean, there is no flight zone or anything like that. So this is more complicated. So we need to switch to probably, I don't know, road deliveries approach by transport, or in any other scenario, we might even use ocean freight and deliver through sea ship container. The approach depends on the particular ad hoc scenario, what we are facing, and according to that, we adjust to the customer needs. It depends on the urgency. If we're talking about routine, and maybe it's not something which is very, it's something common. I don't know. I can take, for example, an engine stands could, if not really urgent needed for any upcoming maintenance, could even travel by sea, for example. No, in this way, yeah, it's much longer transit time, 45 days roughly, but at the end of the day, airlines or lessors, they are saving on transportation costs, and not a little amount. So it's also approach on helping customer to save from their costs.
One aspect that I think is very important in terms of, again, the sensitivity of your industry in terms of the components that you ship. Again, a delicate amount of care, a very intricate amount of care and attention is needed to be paid to, let's say, to transport a $5 million engine, right? You're not just packing that up in a box, right, and then into a truck and shipping it over. There's certain procedures that you take, that you follow, and considerations that you pay, or shall I say focus on for the client. One aspect, and Raimundo, this is something that you write on quite a lot, in one of your articles, which is the insurance, right? What is the how do clients have that peace of mind of knowing that, all right, we are transporting our component, right, and there may be unforeseeable effects that may happen along the way. Again, anything can happen. What's their peace of mind in knowing that, all right, even if something does happen, we don't lose the asset, and its value? Talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, this is a very important topic, and it's quite sensitive in a way that, our approach to this scenario is more on trying to protect the assets first. So during transportation or during loading procedure, anything can happen, as you said. So logistics is done by people, human beings. People make mistakes. We do have internal procedure to avoid that, following manufacturer handling cargo requirements, strict procedure. So nothing is left unnoticed. But this is not enough. When you're transporting an asset which might cost around $5 million and a weight of, I don't know, average 5,000 kilograms, you airlines or whatever lessors owning that engines, you think that you are good to go with your general insurance, all-in insurance, and that's not the case. Why? Simple as that. We suggest, it's a suggestion we give to our customers, to add an extra cargo insurance on that during transportation and loading procedures. And the reason is simple, it's financial one. You imagine this famous 5,000 kilogram engine costs $5 million. I don't know, suddenly an unexpected situation on the roads happen, car accident, anything, a vibration, strong brakes, anything can happen, and can be some damages in it. Who's gonna pay for that? I mean, airlines will claim the freight forwarder, which we claim the carrier, and at the end of the day, logistic industry works by international convention. So, for example, air freight goes through Montreal Convention or Warsaw Convention. Road transportation goes through CMR Convention, and those kind of claims are being compensated to according the kilograms of weight. There is a certain amount. For example, if I'm not mistaken, for Montreal Convention is 26 euro dollar SDR per kilogram of weight. So if we consider that amount of kilograms, imagine a engine costs you $5 million. If everything goes fine at the end of the road with these claims and all the low, you know, tricky situation you're going to face, you're going to get what? Roughly $100,000 back.
From a $5 million
Yes,
engine.
and on top of that, these airlines needs to send the engines to be checked again on maintenance and repairs to see if there is any damages occur on that, and so on. So here it's more a asset protection strategy. So financially, we want that if anything bad happens on the way, everybody is safe. The most important thing is the asset, which is safe, so which is covered according to the value of the engine, and everything is covered in it. It's an approach that probably is not well yet understood, unless certain airlines then have their own particular cargo transportation additional engine. That yes, it happens many times that they do not have that. You know, they take the risk. It's a quite expensive risk, in my opinion.
You know, that's quite an important, interesting and also important factor which you mentioned there. Again, working under time-critical situations where there's a lot of pressure, but you're still trusted to be reliable, you're still trusted to deliver the product. And, you know, this is something that I want to ask, you know, Masvidus, for, where, again, pressures, time-critical, you have to be meticulous, you have to be careful with the products. You know, what's your approach, or rather, what's your view in operating in, you know, time-critical situations and still delivering, again, the result that the client wants to get?
Yes, it's like from operational side of view, the most important thing it's again response time, like quick decision making, like to which partner to go on which situation. So on our case, like if it's urgent situation, we know that the customer wants to get an answer and prepared offer like in 15-30 minutes. So about this time criticality we are talking about, it's very fast. It needs to be done, like decisions are made on spot, like we do not have time to wait to find maybe better option, to wait what will happen after 1-2 hours, because like talking about the road freight, the like most usually used the mode of transport is like minivans, like across the Europe, because mostly like regularly aircraft part, like average aircraft part weighs about 10 kilos. It's like you would imagine like a small box. So these kind of parts are usually transported like in urgent matter with dedicated vans. So in most cases, it's even more economical and more like a preferred way to transport with the road than with the air freight, because air freight is as well like delivery to terminal, booking the cargo, waiting for the airline. The cutoff times are too minimized to be on time on that flight. So maybe it's much simpler and more like secure option is to choose like dedicated transport for the driver to come pick up and deliver straight to the delivery point. So yes, again, the partners and to what we choose on which situation.
Something that I'd like us to touch on here, because obviously we've spoken, you know, about, you know, a wide spectrum, you know, of the logistics industry, especially aerospace logistics, what you do, how you approach your operations. I want to get a bit more of an understanding of the different clients that you work with, because obviously we've spoken a lot about airlines and aircraft, but, you know, aerospace logistics involves, as I had mentioned before, the multiple different players, whether it's scheduled operations or ad hoc operations, charter, or general aviation, rotor aircraft operations. What is that client profile like for you in terms of the different clients that you work with?
Um, to be honest, the main player are airlines, majority. Then, of course, we do have. Well, we need to make a distinction here. First is what is our operation in terms of MRO or Aviation Group environment, and then what is the external part. So we do cooperate with airlines, lessors mostly, parts traders, and freight forwarders, and as well, a bunch of MROs as well. So these are the biggest player. Each of them has different needs. Each of them has different understanding of what is required for them to be satisfied. Our strength, I would say, is to be to adapt and to be flexible on what we could offer to them in terms of course, faster activities answers, in terms of services provided. So we try to offer a full package of services, and each scenario is different, so we need to act according to what we are facing at the moment. These are the biggest players which we are working with within the aviation industry. Of course, we can transport any type of goods, but our core business, it's exclusively aviation industry and aerospace materials.
Majlis, would you like to add on that in terms of how you work with the different clients?
Yes, it's like different clients depends on their activity. Like there are different types of airlines as well. Like they act totally differently. Some of the airlines, like they have their own hubs where they stock the parts. They have stock ready to go anytime. So it's more easier for them to work in their network, deliver the parts, and avoid these AOG situations. Another type of companies is like ACMIs. Like they are flying anywhere like where the customer wants. So they can be 1 week in Europe, in Germany, another week in the United Arab Emirates, in Dubai. So they need to be very quick, very decisive, and to choose correct partners to support them with their activities to deliver the parts on time. So basically those different clients, they have very different approaches. Like there are as well airlines that mostly operate on routine schedules, like they need full truckloads, less than truckloads, like the cargoes can move freely on like 5-6 days of time and there's no pressure at all. But for another companies, it's like you need yesterday, you need to do it in 1-2 hours and find a way to do it, and there's a lot of pressure. So yes, so we understand all of them, and we act the same here in FL Technics. We have many orders, different orders going from our suppliers to our hangars, then from our warehouses for spare parts business all around the world. So, and as well line maintenance business, I didn't mention that need also routinely, strategically place trucks, like deliveries on time each week to like stock the minimum amount of materials needed in that line maintenance stations.
It's all very fascinating, especially as I've been listening to you both again speak about your experience within logistics, speak about how you approach the different operations that you meet, how you work with the different clients that with different expectations, different procedures, different countries, right, different regulations, different procedures that need to be followed. Fascinating to hear how you approach again those time critical situations, AOG, as you mentioned, looking forward, looking ahead, planning ahead, again to the benefit obviously of your operations and to the benefit of the client. Now, as we sum up, if we could sum everything up, where is the business today, right, and what you do today, and what are you looking forward to doing in the future, right? Where is the business heading in the future?
Well, today we are in a developing stage. Well, this business started, as I said, 20 years ago. It was just simple logistic unit, and now it encounter more than 60 people working. And it's a development stage because we are now expanding our operation reach. We are expanding our sales reach. We are adjusting our and modernize our handling of our cargoes. We have just implemented a new transport management system. Soon we are going to launch 24/7 logistic support services. All these things comes from requests from customers. So that's the thing. We adapt to what is requested for us to deliver, which is not just parts; it's services. What FLTing does in this sense is that acknowledge what customer needs, find a way to provide what is required. And for us, you step forward. Last year was in terms of performance, it was our best years ever. We had roughly 70% growth in number of shipments comparing with the past. So it was a huge step forward. So we put the base, the foundation of what we are gonna do in the future. So the goal is always to grow and to expand our services to many players in the industry. And the reality is that we want to be the trusted partners. The reliability, it's a nice word, but what is behind is trust. So we are sure that if we are able to be trusted by the industry, then the results will come, customers will be satisfied. And we are huge brands in terms of MRO. Our goal is also to grow consequentially also in the logistics side of it.
Mažvydas, your closing statement?
Yes, I just wanted to add, basically Raimondo told our plans, what we are planning ahead and how we are preparing for that. So yes, 24/7, all clockwise around operations to cover all of our airlines needs. And then as well, transport management system is a big step forward in clarity of the orders, delivery urgency, for the customers to see real-time tracking of their goods, because mostly there are companies that working their main system is Outlook. So yeah, it's very difficult.
Sadly,
Yes,
logistics is a whole fashion industry.
yes, fashion industry. So it's very difficult to work with that, to have a whole view on what is happening and in the company, how many transport orders you are now currently shipping, what is their status, what is comparison between the road, air or sea freight. So everything and more will be accessible for the clients, for our partners. We all will be in one system, and yes, this should work and get us to another height.
Very exciting projects coming up there, exciting period of development, as you mentioned. From a personal experience aspect, what are you most looking forward to, Mažvydas?
What I'm looking forward to? I'm looking forward to recognition, maybe from the company wise, as we are, every time we talk that we are part of MRO, of big organization, so we need to show ourselves, we need to be noticeable in the market, between free forwarders, between aerospace logistics companies. There are many big players in the market that have the biggest share of the clients. So we also we see ourselves as the big part of those biggest airlines. But step by step, we have our goals. We have we cannot move 100% into the future and work with what we cannot handle. We understand what we can handle, what our team are capable to do. So by this approach, we are going to take over the world, I say.
And Raimondo, for you?
To that. Well, what I'm expecting for the future is knowledge, building more knowledge on the industry first, and giving back what I'm getting out from the industry. So that's my approach to life. I always try to give back something of what I'm taking. So yeah, overall, it's like the perspective of the future. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So I take it, I live day by day, and see what future brings. Hopefully, a great future and a future of brightness for Technics Logistics.
Well, Raimundo, Masvidas, it's been a pleasure to speak to you both. Thank you for inviting me to your facility, and I look forward to the next time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.